What's up, everybody? My name is Parasite. Welcome back to the Jose Mourinho Challenge. We are currently still with Chelsea, but not for long. We've been offered a new job, and I'm going to take it. This is going to be the last you're going to see of me as Chelsea manager. This is the team that when we took them over, hadn't been in Europe for the past couple of seasons. In our first half season there, we qualified for the Europa League. In our first full season, we won the Premier League, and then we won the Europa League, which got us qualified for the Champions League once again. In our first season in Champions League with Chelsea, we went ahead and won it. We also made our second FA Cup final in our third and final year here at Chelsea, and we also won it after falling on penalties the first attempt. And then we won the Premier League for back-to-back seasons. But not only did we win the Premier League, we did it one step better. We won the Premier League unbeaten, something that is almost unheard of. Only been done once by the Arsenal Invincibles, and we scored more points in the season than those Arsenal Invincibles. So it was an actually historic season. We built a really strong squad here at Chelsea. I'm definitely going to miss a lot of these players, but I'm probably going to be taking at least one, if not multiple of them with me to my new club. But when we joined, we had a pretty decent base to build off of. You know, we had some Chelsea lifers like captains Reece James and Mason Mount. We had another players here since the beginning of the save at Chelsea, Kai Havertz. He's the only really original player other than Malang Sarr, who left and came back, that is still at the club. But even some other guys in there that they'd signed. Guys like Cerezo, who is very solid. Badiashile, who was one of the most surprising players. He is absolutely tremendous. Camavinga, always knew he's a really good player, and he proved it this year and the past 2 years, really. He's been extremely good as a defensive midfielder. Alex Mariba, I mean, everyone knows he's a superstar, and he has been that, maybe not quite as much as you'd like. Didn't really have crazy seasons, but again, didn't really play badly at any point either. Yermin Pino, just absolutely tremendous. Probably the best player in the team. We also brought in some new players, guys like Harazo, who we had at Sporting, bought him from Colombia. Fit big bucks on him to bring him to Chelsea, but I think he paid that back. He's the best goalkeeper in the world. Bruno Thiago, who was a little inconsistent at times, but definitely a good goal scorer. And then guys like Mark Ruden, who came in this year, who's a very good left back. Ruggeri was already here. He was surprising. He was solid. And then some other role players, you know, guys I brought in from Sporting like Mike Fromm and Guilherme Santos. Guys I brought in to strengthen on the wings like Gabriel Vidovic. Another guy from Sporting, Benjamin Seska, to be a backup striker. This is a really, really good team with a good first 11 and really good depth. You might have noticed one player missing from the list outside of Mancini, who we knew was leaving. That's because we made one sale in the preseason, and that was Franck Kessie, a player that we thought might leave. He had some interest, and I didn't offer him out, but teams came in for him. Eventually, he leaves to go to Inter Milan for $9 million. 35 years old, never really performed for me. We've got a lot of young options in the midfield. I think the new manager will agree with me as well that he's probably a player that we could have shifted on. So, where are we going? Well, we assumed it was going to be down to Manchester United. They were really the only big job available. So whoever they hired away was probably going to be coming from a big club. In the last episode, we noted that they were interested in two managers. One was Ten Hag, the current real-life manager of Manchester United. He is the manager of Leipzig. And they were also interested in Marcelo Gallardo, who is the manager of Barcelona in this save. But surprisingly, neither of them were the favorites. The favorites was actually the manager of Athletic Club Bilbao, which, I mean, think, okay, if they got fourth in Champions League football, Bilbao, that's a really good achievement for a team that can only sign Basque players. They didn't get fourth, they didn't get top four. Okay, Europa League, that's still a pretty good accomplishment for only Basque players. No. Europa Conference, still, that'd be questionable. Still, they didn't get that. In pure Manchester United fashion, the favorite to get the job was the manager that finished 14th in La Liga. Bilbao finished 14th, and yet their manager was the favorite for the Manchester United job. That is the most Manchester United thing I think I've ever heard. But unfortunately, and probably fortunately, because I would not have gone to Bilbao, they didn't hire the Bilbao manager. It did come down to Ten Hag or Gallardo. So, who did they choose? Where are we going? Is it Leipzig? Is it Barcelona? Are we going to be eating bratwurst for a couple of years? Are we going to be eating... What do they eat in Spain? I actually don't know if I know. Like, every country really has their own delicacy. You know, Italians is pasta, spaghetti, pizza, stuff like that. France, like, bakery goods, baguettes, crepes. England, fish and chips. What is Spain's? I don't know. But we're going to be finding out. Because I'm going to be going to Spain. I'm going to be the Barcelona manager. Gallardo has moved to Manchester United, which opened the job at Barcelona. and I jumped at it. That was the club that I wanted. I would have taken the Leipzig job, but I wanted the Barcelona job, and that's what we got. But the one downside to Barcelona is they only have an $18 million transfer budget. And that is very worrying because they haven't even signed anyone this transfer window. I mean, at Chelsea, we had over a $100 million budget. But I'm not sure exactly how much of this wage budget is available. Maybe we can move some stuff over, but I took a look at some of their wages, and it's probably unlikely. So we might not have a lot of money at Barcelona unless we move some players on. Barcelona are coming off a third place finish in the Liga. They are going to be in the Champions League, but they also won the Europa League last year, which means that their first competitive game is going to be in the Super Cup against Chelsea. So my first competitive game at Barcelona manager is going to be taking on my former club, Chelsea. That is, you couldn't have written that. The previous seasons, they finished first. The year before that, they won it at a canter. Atletico Madrid ran away with it last year. The year before that, they finished second. So they've been a competitive team in the Liga. They won it the year before that, second. So they're currently always top three, won it. Where are they in this one? Fourth? Okay. A little bit worse season, second. So they've been a successful team still in Spain, even with some financial issues. So we should still be set up pretty well to succeed here at Barcelona. If we could take over a Chelsea team that isn't even in Europe and in 2.5 seasons, win the Premier League unbeaten and the Champions League and the FA Cup, I think we can definitely do a job here at Barcelona. So it's time to say goodbye to the Blues and hello to the Blaugrana, because we are officially moving to Barcelona. They were offering me 125K, which is a lot less than Chelsea offered me. They offered me a new contract. Obviously, I wasn't going to accept it. We have nothing left to win in England. We still can win a lot in Spain. We're going to be taking a little bit of a wage cut to do it, but it's not about the money. It's about the silverware. So we're going to be going to Barcelona. I am going to see if I can get a little bit more, maybe like 140. I'm okay with money for winning the Champions League. I plan on doing that, a 4-year contract. I maybe prefer a 3-year, but that's usually pretty hard to negotiate. I'm probably just going to leave it. They want to go up 5K, 135. Meet in the middle. Meet in the middle. Board. You can negotiate with players. You cannot negotiate for wages with the board, which is the most. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Like, player wages are more important. You can negotiate more with that than you can your own wage. Like, that is dumb. I guess I'm taking 130. Fine. We're gonna be the Barcelona manager. Let's hit this button. Let's take over FC Barcelona in the Liga. We are about a couple weeks away from the start of the Premier League season, so we're still in the preseason. I would have preferred to have taken over Barcelona a couple weeks earlier at the very least, but it took Manchester United a little bit to make up their mind. After finishing third last year, their immediate prediction this year is first. So we're supposed to be the best team in the Liga. And our assistant manager is joining us as well. João Sacramento was there our entire time at Sporting. He followed me to Chelsea, and he's going to be following me to Barcelona. Looking at the squad, first real look. They've got a couple regions in there, a couple real players. Not many of their original players, but there's a couple. Nico, Araujo. But they got guys like Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back. Nico Williams on the right wing. A couple regions in there as well. Adley, who's a pretty good midfielder. This left back is absolutely amazing. He's a player that I've always kind of wanted. Nianzou at center back as well, really good player. And a former player at Sporting is their starting goalkeeper, and that's Diego Quillay. That is definitely a problem area. So welcome to Barcelona. We're going to take a look at the squad, but first, who's in the last year of their contracts? See some of the players here, guys like Nicola Zaniolo, 33 years old, on 450K a week. Their wages, for some of these players especially, are just absolutely absurd. Trent, also 33 on 400K a week. Tapsoba at 400K a week at 333. They have a lot of 33-year-olds. Adley's 31 on 245. Oscar at 34 is on 275. They've got Janis. He's not Barcelona quality. 145K. Kamara, 140. Also not really Barcelona quality. Schlager, also not really Barcelona quality at 34. Maybe when he was younger, but not anymore. And some younger player on there as well. Well, let's look at this squad. There is definitely still some talent, but it's not as talented as our Chelsea squad. Their best players are that left back I was talking about, Vicente Ponzi. He is very good. Very, very good. 16 passing, 16 vision. Might not have the best crossing, but he's got the passing to make up for it. Really good mentals. Really good physicals. Probably could be a little bit better defensively, but he's extremely good. Ronald Araujo, obviously still here. 33 years old, but still really good. Still got his physicals. His acceleration is a little low, but I don't think it was ever really that good. Amazing defensively. decent passer, really good mentals. He's still going to be our main guy in defense. Nico Williams on the right wing. I mean, he's been one of their better players of the past couple of years. He's been one of their top goal scorers. The past 4 years, he's got over 10 goals every single season in La Liga. 12, 13, then 20 with 6 assists. A little bit of a down year last year compared to the year before. 7.27 rating, 15 goals, 4 assists. He's probably their most consistent attacking player. They've also got Nico in the midfield. Really, really good player. Developed really well. Really good mentals. Ridiculous physicals, really, for a defensive guy. He's got good passing, good vision. I mean, he's basically a quicker Busquets. And then after that, they got Tengai Nianzou, another good center back. That's an issue, though. That is the main issue. Nianzou's on 875K a week. Like, he's a center back. And he's not the Messi of center backs. His physicals are really good, but he has 13 tackling. Like, none of his really big mentals are above 16. Like, how would I... he's really good. He is very, very good. But if I can get him off the books, I am going to. That is stupid money. Alexander Arnold's still a 4-star player, 33 years old. Still really good. Physicals aren't maybe quite as good as they used to be, but he's 33. But he's still a really good passer, good crosser. Dribbling a little low as well, but still in a tremendous right back. After that, though, a little bit of a drop in quality. They've got a couple regions in there. Guys like Adrian Leon, who's backup center back maybe. Maybe he can start. Not a ball player. He's okay. Larinaga, their probably starting striker. He's decent. He's no Bruno Thiago, but he's not bad. And he's kind of a weird player. He's a player that basically like just made his appearance on the scene at 26 years old. Like, he started at Sevilla, never really did anything with them, got sold to Liverpool for cheap. Played with them their second season, didn't really do much. Got loaned out to Blackburn, came back to Liverpool and just never played. Got on in the Championship, played really well. Came back to Liverpool, barely played, didn't do well. Got loaned to Norwich in the Championship, had a really good season, which got him sold to Barcelona, where he got 17 goals in his first La Liga season and had a 7.26 rating in the Liga after never doing anything in a top league before that. They've got another one of our former players. We only had him for a season, but Pedro Porra, right back. We had him at Sporting on loan, but he's still a pretty good player, 32 years old. Really good backup for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Oscar can play out on the left wing. With his lack of physical ability at 34 years old, I'd probably prefer to play him through the middle. He can definitely do that pretty well with his passing. Other guys like Yassine Adli I talked about, I think he's still really good, 31 years old. Still going to be good for a little bit. Got some good size, physicals, mentals, technicals. He's pretty much got it all. I think he's better than that 3-star rating. Zaniolo at 33. Not as good as he used to be. Technicals aren't all quite there. Mentals are still really good, but physicals starting to drop off a little bit as well. Another player that I don't know if I'd love to play him down the wing. He's also on 450K, so would be one I'd consider letting go, along with some of these other guys like Oscar. Even maybe Nico Williams. I mean, 375 is not stupidly expensive, but that value, and we don't have much money, so if we can't get some of these other guys sold, maybe I'd be interested in letting Nico Williams go. Edmund Tapsoba, another center back, 33 years old, 400K a week. I mean, he's decent. His strength's not great, but he's decently defensively, got some good mentals. 400K a week. We can get 30 million for him. Again, we need the money. After that, another region, Belgian and American region. I love to see that. David Piers. He is not a striker, I don't think, with 9 finishing, but he has 18 dribbling. I think he's probably a winger or maybe an attacking midfielder. Only 12 passing, can't defend, but I don't know. He's kind of a weird player. I don't really know what he does well. He can't finish. He can't cross. He's an okay passer. I don't know. Does he have any sort of good value? 65 to 89. Could be a player that I might look to cash in on, but unfortunately, I think they just signed him. Yeah, from 33.5 from Antwerp. So we'll have to find a role for him. He is 6'3" at least. And up next, a Greek center back, Evangelos Stanisos, who's pretty solid. I'm pretty happy with him. Only on 69K a week. Nice. But really good physicals, pretty good mentals, can pass enough. Heading's really low, but he's got good jumping reach at least. So I think he could still do a job. He's not going to be exceptional. He probably shouldn't be a starter. But as a depth center back, perfectly fine. And then there's Diego Kiai, who I don't know how he is their starting goalkeeper. He shouldn't be. That's probably target number 1. They need a starting goalkeeper. He's fine as a backup, not as a starting goalkeeper for Barcelona. Then you got Anastite, who's probably also want to leave because he's not Barcelona quality, like whatsoever. And he's not like because he's old, he's only 29. He's just never Barcelona quality. Why they signed him, I do not know. I mean, he played well in Portugal, but that is basically it. So it's just another weird signing of Barcelona. You also have another former Chelsea player, none that played under us, but when I was interested in signing, he eventually went to Barcelona, which is also kind of weird. But Mark Guay, he's, again, fine as a backup center back. Wages are pretty cheap, so I'm happy with him as a backup. He can also play right back or left back. Schlager, also, yeah, get rid. Kamara, probably get rid. He's not super old, 32, but if we can get money for him, get him off the wages, I'm all for it. And then a youngster, Uribe. I don't know if he'll be among the first team this year. He might have to be. I don't know. And then just the third goalkeeper who's not good. 20K, fine. So now we need to build the tactic. This is usually something I do off camera, but I thought it might be a good idea to kind of show my thought process when building this tactic. We've had a couple of successful tactics with Sporting and with Chelsea. You know, we only played really the 4-3-3 with Chelsea. We tried to play a more possession style. Didn't really work for the most part. That higher tempo style, we've just had so much success within this save. But obviously, we're going to have something different here at Barcelona. Probably still not going to go possession. Probably still going to play with a higher tempo. But in terms of actually building the formation and the tactic and some of the instructions, it's all of it's dependent on the players we've got. So starting to look to build this. Obviously, the defense is usually kind of self-explanatory. Obviously, it's either a back four or a back five. But Ponzi on the left-hand side, and no matter what, he's our left back, left wing back, whatever it needs to be. Araujo obviously going to start at center back somewhere. Nico obviously going to start in the midfield somewhere. And then you've got guys like Nico Williams. The one problem I find here is they don't really have a left winger. I mean, they've got that old dude. Where is he? Oscar, who's, I mean, the physicals, I don't like players without physical ability on the wings. Even if they're an advanced playmaker out there, I don't love it. So there's not really anyone great on that left wing. We can bring somebody in, and maybe that could change how I look at the tactic, but with what I've got currently at my disposal, I don't know if I'm going to use wingers because we don't really have a second winger. It'd probably mean a player that probably doesn't deserve to be playing in that role and won't perform well in that role would have to start, and I don't know if that's worth it. So what do we do with Nico Williams? I mean, I think the best call might be just selling him. Get his wages off the books. His value is extremely high. He's 30 years old. If we can get $150 million for a 30-year-old, get $375K a week off the wage budget, and bring in a player that best fits around the rest of the players of the team, that could definitely make some sense. But obviously, there's going to have to be interest. And so we can't really plan right now for him possibly leaving if we don't know that's going to be the case. So right wing or striker probably is going to be the role for Nico Williams. He can do it. He does only have 11 finishing, but he's proven to be a goal scorer at this level. So we'll just hold off on him for now. Nyandu, another one of our best players, but like I said, I wanted to get him off the books, but it's probably unlikely. There's not many clubs in the world that can afford a dude that's on $875K a week wages. So I think it's probably unlikely we can get rid of him. So we've just got to slot him in there at center back. Alexander-Arnold, obviously going to start on the right side. And then a bunch of 3-stars. We've got guys like Adley, who's probably better through the middle. Oscar, who's better through the middle. Zaniolo, who at his age is probably better through the middle. And so I'm thinking it's probably going to have to be a narrow system because we don't really have that left winger. And we've got an abundance of decent midfielders. But we've also got a couple of other decent center backs. Guys like Adrian Leon and guys like Tabzoba, who's still pretty dang talented, even though his physicals might be starting to fall off. He's 33 years old. He's on high wages. Might be another player we look to let go. If we do, then maybe we do stay with the back four. If we don't, he might have to start. So I think right now, with what we know right now, I'm going to go to a 3 at the back. I'm going to go another center back there. I'll also switch this around a little bit, but I think Tabzoba and our best starting 11 has to go in there at center back. And then we've got, what? I don't think we have another winger, so we're probably going to go with 2 up top. Obviously, we got to start Larinaga. We've got 3 pretty good midfielders. So probably something like this. Alexander-Arnold as a wing back, I think would be really good for him, especially at his older age. So in the midfield 3, obviously Nico's going to slot in there. He's going to start almost every single game as our defensive player in the midfield. But we've got a couple of other options to go next to him. Guys like Zaniolo, Adley, and Oscar. Adley and Oscar not very good defensively, but they could be goal scorers, which is something I think we need from the midfield. Adley maybe not quite as good of a goal scorer as Oscar, though. Oscar with 12 finishing, but 16 long shots. He's also got decent set pieces like Adley does as well. But then you've got Zaniolo, who maybe not as creative, but can also be that goal scorer. Maybe probably the best of the 3 in terms of just straight up goal scoring. 14 finishing, 15 long shots. So I'm thinking he goes in there as the goal scoring midfielder in some fashion. Probably not in the middle. Probably on the left, actually, since he's left-footed. And then Adley or Oscar is the creator. They're both the two most creative midfielders we've got outside of Nico. Which one, though? Probably Adley, I would say. Good dribbling. Mentals maybe not quite as good. Definitely not quite as good, but physicals are a lot better. Younger. Obviously, I'd rather tie my horse to a younger guy, so I'm thinking it's something like that. With Nico, Adley, and Zaniolo in the midfield. Backline of Tapsoba, Nianzou, Araujo, Ponzi, and Alexander on the wings. Which means that the striker is going to be Nico Williams and Larinaga. Not goalkeeper, striker. And obviously right now, Diego Kayai, the goalkeeper, because we don't have any other options, really. So based on what we have right now, this is kind of what I'm going with. Obviously, the roles are going to change, and we'll get to that right now. So Nico, his best roles, deep lying playmaker, defend. Can't really dribble. Doesn't do a whole lot going forward in terms of goal scoring, but he is good physically. So maybe that's not quite the best use of his talents. Obviously, I can move him around a little bit. Maybe one of these guys to attack midfield. Maybe move Nico to defensive midfield. I think a lot of that would be matchup dependent. This is kind of more balanced, just the three midfielders. And what I like about this three at the back, especially with three midfielders, it can be very fluid. But for right now, for our main tactic, he's going to stay there in the middle. Probably not. I don't know if I want him to hold position because of how good his physicals are. But central defender defend has hold position as well. He probably needs to be on a defensive role. And I don't think there's really any that don't have hold position. Box to box. Maybe that would be best because I think either box to box or center mid defend. I don't really want two playmakers, and I feel like Adley has to be a playmaker. He can be like a Mazzala with that 15 dribbling. Could be a center mid attack as well. That might probably would be what I go for Zaniolo, though. I think he's probably best to center mid attack, but can maybe also be a Mazzala. All right, I think I've made up my mind. I'm going to make Adley a Mazzala on support on this right-hand side. I would definitely want one support role, one defend role, and one attack role. And Zaniolo is obviously going to be the attack role. He's going to be center mid on attack. The reason I went with this, I thought about making Adley maybe an advanced playmaker on support, but he's got decent finishing. I don't really want him shooting less. His long shots are decent as well with, 13? I mean, it's not amazing, but he could still be an advanced playmaker, but I prefer the playmaker to be in the middle, and I think it makes more sense for the defensive player to also be in the middle. So I'm going to go with Mazzala. Could also go like center mid, support, or attack, but they're usually more important defensively. They require a little bit more defensive awareness, and he's just does nothing defensively. So I think Mazzala might make the most sense for him. And then Zaniolo, who is better defensively, can be that center mid, and he can be center mid on attack, which is a very good role this year. And so Nico in the middle can be that playmaker on defend. And that is, I think, a pretty balanced midfield three. In terms of the back line, I think they're all right-footed. We'll see if they have any preferences. Right or middle in a three-man. Tapsoba wants to be, doesn't care. And then Nianzou, right or middle. So I guess that means Tapsoba is going to be on the left. I think that's fine tactically. Typically the guy in the, I don't know. Typically the guy in the middle, I like to be better in the air because, these guys on the wide might be going out to close down a fullback or a winger. And so this guy's always going to be in the middle to stop headers. So you obviously want guys that's really good in the air there. And typically you also want guys that are a little bit more mobile on the outside so they can close down a little bit quicker. Obviously Tapsoba kind of is that. He only has 11 strength, but he's also 6'4", 16 jumping reach, only 13 heading. Nianzou, 6'2", 16 jumping reach, 16 heading. And then Araujo, 6'3", 17. Yeah, I think Araujo in the middle, Nianzou on the right, Tapsoba on the left. They're all okay with that. Tapsoba, even though he's a little bit taller, his jumping reach is not quite as good. Heading's not quite as good. Strength's not quite as good. So I think Araujo makes the most sense through the middle. He's also got really good anticipation, so I think he can play a cover role. Then decision, probably a ball player, I would say, because 14 passing is decent. Good composure, good decisions, decent first touch. I think he'd be a covering, ball-playing defender. And then out wide, Nianzou. He's got good dribbling, really good passing as well, really good vision. So he could be a ball player, but I think he's probably best used as a wide center back. He can cross the ball decently well. I really like wide center backs. So for now, he's going to be a wide center back on support. I think he probably can get further forward with that really good passing, decent dribbling, decent crossing, good pace. Tapsoba on the left, also a pretty decent passer, good composure, decisions, decent first touch, dribbling, also pretty decent. Probably also a wide center back, but just on defend, so we get a little bit of balance there as well. I think that's a pretty good back line. For the goalkeeper, as long as he can do it, I usually like to go with sweeper keeper, but defend, support, attack kind of depends on the tactic, and most of it's around the instruction. So on support or attack, they take more risks. And so if you're trying to play a possession style, even though it might make sense to play sweeper keeper on attack, you don't want your goalkeeper taking more risks, because they will just kick it long and you'll lose it. If you really want to hold on to the ball, they have to be on defend. They have to be on defend, and you have to tell them to take fewer risks, even if they're a really good passer, because it's just no one on the pitch loses the ball more than a goalkeeper. And so if you want to play possession style, don't let that happen. So for me, I'm probably going to play higher tempo, so probably support or attack. And I don't know if Kai is the best sweeper keeper on attack. I mean, we're probably going to replace him, but so it could change if our new goalkeeper is good on attack. But right now, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious, keep him on support. For the wingbacks, Ponzi's a little bit more defensive than Alexander-Arnold, of course. Alexander-Arnold, one of the best attacking fullbacks in the world. Ponzi, only 9 crossing. His dribbling's okay, though. Really good physical, so I do want him getting forward, but I probably want him passing more than he crosses. He's got really good off the ball, decent finishing on long shots. So I might make him a complete wingback, which might sound counterintuitive, saying I don't want him to be as attacking, but I also kind of want him roaming from positions. I want him cutting inside when he needs to because of that decent finishing and long shots. Because of that good passing, I want to be more involved in the build-up from the middle. And if he's a wing-back, he's being told to stay wide for the most part. Run wide with ball. So I think complete wing-back. Does say run with ball as well, though, and stay wider. It's kind of... So it has stay wider, but it also has roam from position. Those seem kind of like they clash with me a little bit. I don't know. I don't think I want to wing back on defend. No, definitely not, because I don't want him taking fewer risks. So I guess just wing back support. So he isn't told to stay wider. But I wish I could tell him to roam from position. I can't. I can tell him to either sit narrow or stay wider, which, I mean, I kind of want him to make the decision there. So I guess just wing back support might be the best. Yeah, Alexander-Arnold. I mean, he doesn't have great dribbling. I'm pretty sure complete wingbacks have dribble more. I guess just on attack. So he could be a complete wingback support. It looks like it might be his best role based on the stars. Get further forward. I'm all fine with that. Off the ball is decent as well. Obviously, really good crossing, really good passing. I think complete wingback makes sense for him on support. Then the strikers. So Larinaga, 6 foot, good dribbling. Looks like an advanced forward. 18 vision. I didn't even notice that. Really good composure and decisions. So he could definitely be the creative guy. Decent goal scorer as well. What's his record with Barcelona? Oh, it's just the one season. He scored 17. So, could be a complete forward. Heading's decent. Jumping reach is decent. Strength is decent. That might be his best role. Williams obviously is just going to be the guy on the back line. Advanced forward. Looking to get in behind. Mourinho can make the plays happen. So I think complete forward makes sense. So he takes more risks. I definitely want him doing that. Deep lying. He could do that, but I think he's got the physical ability and the dribbling to do a complete forward role. Trequartista could also probably do. Do I want him dropping deep? That's basically the one difference between complete forward and Trequartista. Trequartista, he's almost always dropping deep. Same with false 9. Complete forward, he's doing a bunch of different things. And I think he can do a bunch of different things. His crossing's not the best, but because his dribbling's so good, because his passing's so good, composure, decisions, off the ball, I think complete forward. Probably on support, though, so he can be a little bit more looking to get playing Williams and the midfielders making runs. Nico Williams, obviously just advanced forward. I want him dribbling, so I don't want him to be a poacher. Can he be a pressing forward? 5 aggression, 12 work rate, probably not. So I think he is an advanced forward, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Sitting on the back line, looking for those through balls from either the playmakers or Larinaga. So I think that's basically the shape and the role set. So now when you look at the instructions, mentality, I really like balanced, at least to start. Obviously, a lot of it's depending on who you're taking on, whether you're balanced, positive, attacking, the in-game situation. But starting on balanced, I find a lot of success with. So I'm going to keep that there. In terms of directness and tempo, obviously I'm going to go with a higher tempo. Think that works better. I think standard or shorter passing. I think standard, because we don't really have a target man up top. We don't have like wide players in more advanced roles that can find outlet balls too. So I think with the 5 at the back, 3 center midfielders, it makes more sense to go with the shorter, higher tempo style, more, I guess, tiki-taka. Play out of defense, I almost always have on, unless I have just a massive target man up top. Work the ball into the box, also I think makes sense with our 2 strikers the way they are. Kind of thinking low crosses. I mean, Larinaga's not bad in the air, but he's also really quick, relatively quick, and obviously Nico Williams is extremely quick. So I think balls along the ground can be really successful. So I'm going to go with low. Attacking with, typically the way I do it, like if I'm playing a more possession style, I'll go a little bit wider, kind of give more space for all of our players. If we're going higher tempo, I'll usually go a little bit narrower. But I think with this, I think standard's fine. Run a defense. Could use that. We've got good midfielders in terms of dribbling. Strikers are good at dribbling. Alexander-Arnold's not really. Ponte's, Center backs, I'm going to hold off for now. I really liked this last year. Run a defense last year I thought worked really well. This year, maybe not as much, but I am going to pass into space. Basically just because of Nico Williams. In transition, I typically counter press, and I think it makes sense to do it here. In terms of countering, if I'm playing a more possession style, I either hold shape or do nothing, but higher tempo, always look to counter. Never a bad thing to counter. Distribution, 3 at the back, you go center backs. And I don't think I need to change that. He can decide how he gets it to him. Don't really bother me there. Higher line of engagement, almost always. If I'm going high possession, I always go much higher. But with the higher tempo style, I think just higher. I mean, we've got decent pace at our center backs. Depending on opposition, especially the opposition striker, I can push this up. But I'm just going to start with just a higher defensive line. I don't love an offside trap with the 3 at the back. Obviously, with wide center backs, it can work decently well, but I'm going to start with it off. If I went much higher, I would, but just higher, I think I can do without an offside trap. I'll always trigger press much more often, almost never not do that. Prevent short goal distribution makes a lot of sense. 2 strikers, 3 center backs, all of them pretty decent early. And I think that's probably it. I liked Get Stuck In last year. I don't like it this year. With only 2 wingbacks, I don't want to force opposition outside because we only have 2 players there. I also don't really want to force opposition inside because it's usually counterintuitive what you really want. You want them on the flanks to use an extra defender, but I don't want to always force them there. I think standard works fine with the 3 at the back. And yeah, I think for the most part, that's the tactic. I'm also going to quickly throw together a 4 at the back just in case we sell one of our center backs or bring in a wide left player, just to have this as an option. So basically the only change is Williams goes to the right wing, Larinaga goes up top. One of the center backs comes out. It'd probably be Tapsoba, unless one of them gets sold, obviously. And then this goes out on the left wing. Fullbacks move back. Raja moves over. Raja moves over. I think they both prefer to be on the right in a 2-man, which is unfortunate, but it doesn't make the biggest deal. What about basically from here? If they're both right-footed, both like to be on the right. Weak foot, reasonable for Araujo. Nyanzo, also. Technique, 13 for Nyanzu. Araujo, god dang it. I mean, it's just a crapshoot then. It doesn't really matter at this point. I care more about Araujo being happy, so he's going to be on the right-hand side. Then we've got 3-man midfield, which Nico, I think, would drop back here. Give the back line a little bit more protection. Then we got Zaniolo and Adley. They could even probably keep their roles. Yeah. And then I think we need a left winger. Obviously, we have some people that could do it. Nico Williams can move over there. Zaniolo can move over there. Oscar could move over there. But I think if we played this, I need a left winger. So those are going to be our 2 tactics. In terms of players I'm going to target, I think a lot of it, almost all of it, is going to come down to who we can sell. Because we kind of have to sell to buy. We do have a decent amount of wage budget, 1.76 million. So actually quite a bit. So we can actually get over 40 million. We do have money. We have, okay, money's not an issue. We've got money. I'd still like to raise some more because 57 is still a lot of money, but for this day and age, still probably not enough. Especially, I think we need a few areas. So, again, who he signs probably going to depend on who leaves. if one or two of our center backs leave, maybe we bring in a couple more and still try to play the three at the back. Maybe we stay with the back four, bring in some wingers, maybe bring in some younger midfielders, bring in a world-class striker. I think that is definitely one thing this team really lacks. So who might we bring from Chelsea? Well, obviously we need a goalkeeper, but I don't think I can afford Giovanni Herrazzo. 151 to 177 million. I don't think that's going to happen. Badiashile, if we sell a center back, that is my #1 target. Benoit Badiashile. We know how good he is. Left-footed as well, something we don't have, a left-footed center back. He would be a great get. He's kind of my #1 target if we move on a center back, and it can make a lot of sense. And we've got guys on really high wages. He's on 230 at Chelsea. He'd definitely take a wage rise from us, but I mean, he might not even want to because he just signed a new contract, actually. Yeah, he just signed his contract. That's right. If I would have actually made it go through in the middle of last season, we could have signed him, I think. But because of the way I made it happen, unfortunately, we can't go after Badiashile. But maybe January, maybe next season. Still, really want him. That value, he is far too good for $41 to $67 million. In terms of other players, Cerezo, he apparently wants to explore the options at the end of his contract, which doesn't make much sense to me. He's on good money. He's on the best team in the world. I don't know why. He literally came to me and said, yeah, I'm going to explore the options at the end of my contract. I'm like, I don't understand why. You're the main starting center back. You start almost every single game on a team that's went unbeaten in the Premier League, and you want to leave. I mean, if it means we can bring him to Barcelona, then I'm okay with it. So he could be a possibility. Reece James, I don't think we need a right back. Nielsen, possibly. We need a guy who can play right back or center back. Really good utility player, can also play in the midfield. Ruggeri, with that value, is probably not quite good enough for that value. Could be a backup left back. Camavinga, probably also too expensive, but I would love to have Camavinga. Same with Mariba, probably too expensive. James Boothby definitely could be a target. We need a backup defensive midfielder, which we kind of do. I think James Boothby could make a lot of sense. Isaac Beatty also could make a lot of sense. He's pretty expensive, though. I guess Boothby's not as much defensive, is he? 11 tackling. I was thinking of Beatty. But yeah, Boothby, a young, more attacking midfielder. Good pace. Yeah, he still could make sense. Beatty, if I really wish he was worth a little bit less than that, because he would make a lot of sense. But I don't know if I can pay that for Isaac Beatty. Mason Mount, not really interested. Guilherme Santos, too expensive. Mike Fromm, also too expensive. Yermi Pino would be the perfect option on that left wing, but probably too expensive. But he's Spanish. He's a left winger. That makes so much sense. Kai Havertz, not really interested. Vidovic, I mean, maybe Vidovic. Obviously, still pretty expensive, but that's less than we paid for him at Chelsea. Zvonarek, probably not. Barry Kendrick, no. Sesko, probably not. Thiago, probably too expensive. So we don't have a lot of great options of former Chelsea players. But we do have one more well of former players to get from, and that is Sporting. There's still a few of our former players here. A lot of them have left, but there's still guys like Mateus Nunes, who is transfer listed by request. 12.5 million, a little expensive for a 33-year-old, but could definitely make some sense. Same we said for Pedro Gonçalves. He's 34, $10 million. But he's still pretty good, but his physicals look like they are dropping off a bit. Other than that, most of our guys have left. Luca Carna, that could make a lot of sense. That is the world-class striker that we lack. Obviously, he came from Spain. We bought him from Celta Vigo, I believe, at Sporting. That signing can make a lot of sense. Well, there's a lot of business to be done, and not a lot of time to do it. It is 19 days before our first competitive match with Barcelona, taking on Chelsea. That's going to be next episode. We'll take you through any of the transfer business we're done or in the process of doing, and we'll take on our former team to start our first competitive game as Barcelona manager. If you made it this far, why don't you like the video, subscribe, and click the bell. The links to all my socials and my Twitch are in the description. I really appreciate all your support. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time.